Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you a cool technique for generating digital glitches in your artwork using a software called Audacity and a hex editor. I am going to cover some like context and computer file format sciencey stuff in this video that is outside of like my usual comfort zone, I guess, knowledge wise. So I'm going to show you a demo of the effect, like my version, how I apply it, and you can experiment and sort of go from there using the different options and stuff in this video. I've also been told that I should introduce myself at the start of these videos, which I've not been doing because it's a little bit cringeworthy, but my name is Jack. I run a website called Studio AAA where you can download cool design resources. I also do freelance graphic design. I make album covers. I've done event stuff, websites, blah, blah, blah. You might already know that stuff if you have found my YouTube videos from like Instagram, Twitter, or like the other YouTube channels that I've appeared on over the years. Something that you might not know about me is that I went to university for music technology, and that did not go well for me. I failed 2 years in a row. But before I dropped out, there was a PhD student who I can't remember the name of or anything other than this. Pretty much, I don't remember anything from uni, but I remember this. There was a PhD student who showed me how to mess with images in audio software. So I'm going to cover that now. First thing you are going to need to get this done is some software. Jesus Christ, that just blinded me. First thing is this software called Audacity. So you can come here to their download page and download whatever it is you need for your operating system. I'll include the links in the description. You are then going to need a hex editor software. I'm going to use HXD by MH Nexus, which I'll also leave a link to in the description. I'm going to close that now because that is like giving me a headache. I've also got this artwork open here, which is just this is just what I exported from After Effects just to demo this effect on. Doesn't matter what kind of work you're going to use here, you just need to be able to open it in Photoshop. My document size is quite big, 2160 by 2700. So for this video, I'm just going to scale that down to 1080 by 1350. You don't have to scale yours down. It's just that the size of your file, when we interpret it into audio, will correlate with the length of the audio. And because I want to be able to play and listen to what my artwork sounds like as an audio file in this video, I think if I import the larger one, then I might be looking at like a 10-minute audio. So yeah, once you have picked your image, come up to File, Save a Copy, and then I'm just going to quickly navigate to somewhere better than this to save it. And then where it says Save As Type, click where it says JPEG and come down and click on BMP and then click Save. You're going to get this menu, which you may not have seen before, but for now, just go with the default settings, basically. I just want it to work for this video, so if you want to pick a different one, you can, but I would recommend picking the other settings like after you have watched this video. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the default and press OK. And then, as I said, you should now have downloaded and installed Audacity. I'm not going to patronize you about how to install Audacity because it's just an exe file, so just double click it and it'll do it. So I've got mine installed here. With Audacity open, come to File and click on Import and then go to Raw Data. And you're gonna have to use this like old janky file browser thing to navigate to your artwork. So find wherever you saved it and just click on it and click open. And at this point you are going to need to choose your import settings. So we've got multiple options for the first, called encoding, and I'm going to recommend you go with either ULAW or ALAW because these are most commonly used for dealing with raw audio data. And because Audacity just classed our image, it doesn't know that we're opening an image, but because it classed it as raw data, this is just what I would recommend using. If I remember right, as I said, I don't remember like anything really from uni, but one of these, I think the ULAW one is the American version, and then the ALAW one is in Europe and the rest of the world version. I'm just going to click on ULAW. If you care, if it matters to you, these encoders here are just controlling how you will compress what is known as the dynamic range of a sound for storage. So obviously we're putting image data through this encoder, and I don't know what the result will be, but dynamic range is the point between the loudest part of your sound and the quietest part of your sound. So like high dynamic range. If you're watching like a film and it's super quiet horror film, people are whispering and shit, and then like an action thing comes in and you got to turn the telly down because it's super loud. That is an example of high dynamic range. Some games now, like Assassin's Creed, have a night mode sound option, which is just where they compress the dynamic range so that the quieter sounds and the louder sounds are like closer together, kind of, so if you are playing at night or whatever, you're not going to wake people up in your house, or you're not going to get like jump scared or whatever. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm going to choose ULAW, and I would recommend you do the same. The next option we've got is byte order. I'm going to go with little endian. To be honest, I don't really think this matters, but when I researched this again online, it seems like everyone who does this goes with little endian. Little endian and big endian are weird names, but these affect the order that the bytes are stored in, so it literally means byte order. At the end of the process, we're going to have to manually replace some bytes in our file, so for this one, just remember what you chose for byte order and encoding, because you're going to need this later. All the rest you can leave the same. Don't change the channels. Obviously, I'm sure you all know about mono or stereo channels. Obviously, we're going to want 100% of the image and just leave the sample rate at the default, which is 44.1, and click on import. So at this point, your sound has been imported, and if you want to, you can now listen to your work if you've ever been curious what your artwork might sound like. So I'll just make sure this comes through in the recording. This might be a little bit deafening. So yeah, I don't really know what I expected, but yeah, this sounds like awful. But you can see there's some weird stuff happening, although it is just like awful noise. You can see at certain points there is like this dip in the volume, and I don't know what this represents, these sort of spikes here down at the bottom, but the sound doesn't really appear to change where these are. Let me just check. Yeah, I don't really know what these represent, but it shows like some areas that we can start messing with. So I am going to start with this little sort of dip here in the audio, and I'm just going to highlight that by clicking and dragging over it. Then I'm going to right click and click on split clip, and then just making sure I've got it selected, I'm going to go up to effect, delay and reverb, and I'm going to add an echo, and you can see straight away that the sound wave here has already changed. So you can go through now, and like if you want to, let's say, this weird sort of dip here, highlight, right click, split clip, effect, and then choose any of these that you like. So distortion, let's go hard clipping, and yeah, so now that bit super distorted. You can select this section here where nothing much is really happening, split clip, effect, and let's say we are gonna do some EQ. I'm gonna go to low pass filter, and let's filter out everything above 5000 hertz and click apply. So now you're only really getting the low parts of the noise. Low pass filter, by the way, if you don't know what a low pass filter is, right now when I'm talking, I will put a low pass filter on my voice. So at this point, maybe you can't understand what I'm saying properly, and that's because I'm filtering out the frequencies below whatever you input. So I'll now turn off the low pass filter. I don't know if you understood anything I just said, but I just applied a low pass filter to my voice, and that's what it sounded like. I apply a low pass filter to all my audio on these videos just for like the higher frequencies. Low pass means the low frequencies will pass through the filter, and anything above the frequency that you input in that little dialog box will not pass through the filter, and it'll be cut out. So yeah, that's sort of filtered out some of the audio data here. I'm just going to add like another effect to the beginning, so I'll do a slightly smaller section this time, and let's reverse that one. So at this point you can listen again if you want. To be honest, because it is all just garbage noise rubbish, maybe it's just going to sound the exact same. I'm gonna listen again. I'll turn it up so you can hear it on the video. Yeah, it still kind of sounds like shit, but maybe the edits I've just made are going to look cool on an image. I don't know that yet, so don't be too put off if yours sounds like shit. The objective is not to get it to sound good. The objective is just to change the data using effects that are not available to you when you are treating the data as an image. So yeah, I'll just I'll pitch this little section down here. If you're looking for some like cool visual stuff from your work as well, by the way, like viewing and hearing your image data as a sound is quite cool, even though it sounds bad. While this part obviously is not an actual effect, if you on your audio track here click on this little black triangle that says open menu. You can change the view from waveform to spectrogram. So this is a visual representation of the frequencies that are in the audio data here that's been pulled from your image data. This doesn't look amazing, but if you use this creatively, or even if you were just curious to see more about what your work might look like as just data or as a sound or whatever, this stuff is interesting. Obviously you can see there that this one where I've pitched down, there's much more purple and the spectrum is less full, and this one here, this is the section that I applied the low pass filter to, because I filtered out a lot of the high frequencies. Again, there's way more purple than these ones. In fact, you can almost see, so like if I play this again now, sorry, I know this is like deafening and awful, but if I play this, the most of what you're hearing, I think, is just coming from this solid white line here. Man, that is deafening. I play from here, the orange line, the white line has moved down to here. If you look at my image, most of it is black. And yeah, if there are any people like really into audio listening to this now, they might be laughing at how stupid this sounds, but because most of this image is black and most of what you can hear is represented by this solid line that moves when I pitch down or just sort of appears in all of them no matter what effect I apply, yeah, that might be how this has interpreted the black. If I did this with a different byte order, maybe the white line would be lower, or like when we're converting from image data to audio data, this is where your settings might impact how this sounds. So I'm going to do one more section of edits here, and let me just split that. I'm going to go to effect, I'm going to change the pitch, I'm going to do all the way down, and I'm going to do it all the way down again. So you can see here now how much this has changed. Man, I don't know if that might have just freaked out my recording. I need to turn my desktop audio off. Yeah, that's now just like a low rumble now. Yeah, that just changes from like horrible white noise to a low rumble. So I've done quite a lot here, mostly just to experiment, but the only thing that you can't do is change the length. If you change the length of your audio, it's going to fuck up. So yeah, just keep it down here. I should have said this when I first opened this up, but yeah, mine was 1 minute and 22 seconds and I've not extended this in any way, so it should be fine. So explore your options if you want in the software. Just remember, if your audio is 1 second long, don't do anything that makes it longer than 1 second. If you're more experienced with audio, maybe you can export this audio file and bring it into Ableton or Logic or like FL Studio, and as long as you can get it back to being a BMP file, we'll be able to follow the rest of the tutorial. I'm going to leave it here for editing the actual audio, and once you're done editing, come up to File and click Export Audio, and then change your encoding to what you used at the start, and then for the header settings, just click on RAW. Once you've matched all these up to your import settings, you can click Export. So I've got mine here now right next to where I saved my original, so I'm going to open this up now in Photoshop. You'll get the usual RAW options. If you've never opened a RAW file in Photoshop, just you can just press OK, but if you know what you're doing here, you can always mess with this. You can see what we've got makes absolutely no sense. It is not the original image. Yeah, it's just a mess. This is still a cool asset if you want to use this. Like, this would be a pretty cool displacement map or something like that on your work if you wanted to add a glitch effect, but yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to close that and we're going to come back to our hex editor. So again, hex editor, whichever hex editor you installed, exe file, double click it, go over all the defaults, choose your preferences when it's installing and get it opened up. Go to File, Open, and open up your file that you exported from Audacity. Just going to make this a little bit bigger in the recording so you can see what's going on. Full disclaimer, if you use a hex editor on important files on your computer, you are going to fuck them up. So if you do any hex editing with no experience outside of this tutorial, outside of what I tell you to do in this video, I'm not responsible for whatever you break. It is an interesting like way of messing with things though. So yeah, if you want to look into hex editing, just Google it. Like Stack Overflow and that type of stuff have a load of info online about what you can do with this software. But yeah, once you've got your raw file open, go File, Open again, and open the original bitmap that we created at the start, the BMP file. You'll see you've got two tabs now. When we exported this raw file as headerless, what we are gonna do now is just put the header back on manually. Again, you don't need to understand what header is, don't worry about it. What we are gonna need to do is identify what is known as the magic number. So the data you're seeing here is image data at a hexadecimal level, and what we need to do is look for what the computer science people, I'm going to take these headphones off now, because I don't need these anymore. Yeah, what we're going to look for now is called the FF, or the magic number. I spent a while online looking for context around this because it's quite easy to find a tutorial where like someone's shown a screenshot of them finding the FF byte or the magic number for their file, but I wanted to give context on how to find it in yours because obviously it's always going to be different. I wasn't able to find anything that like made sense to me about this online, but luckily I know someone who explained this to me in really simple terms and saved me loads of time. A link in the description. My friend Mikey, also known as Rivalsleeper, who you might know if you are in the Studio AAA Discord, and yeah, thanks to him for helping me sort of work this out. So you might be a little bit overwhelmed by all this here. On the BMP file, you'll see here we've got first 2 bytes are 42 and 4D, whereas on the raw file you don't have that. The 42 and the 4D indicate that this is a BMP file. I don't know how software reads that, but that's what you are looking for. So from here, what you want to do is look across this row at the top to where it says 0F and highlight along to where it says 0F, and then on the left sort of row underneath where it says offset, keep pulling your highlighted selection down until you get to the first F on the left. So you'll see there's a row of zeros, then F0. So where this F lines up with this F, that is your first FF byte. Yours is going to look different to mine. I don't know if it will be longer or shorter or in the same location. Select that, right click and click on copy, come over to the raw file, and you'll see where your sort of like text cursor thing is here. It's already at the beginning of the file, so go to edit and click on paste, insert. You'll get this little error message, just press OK, then go to file and save. So now if you open that file in Photoshop, because it is still a raw file, you're going to get the same shit you got before. So just come to your file explorer, whatever it is you're working with, right click. You can already see on the thumbnail I've got some changes on mine, so right click and click rename, and just rename it to BMP because we've put the file header and the FF byte from a BMP file in there, so it's safe to just change it manually. Press enter, get a stupid error message, press yes. I've already got that, so whatever, it'll add a little 2 on the end. But yeah, I'm going to open that now, and this is the output. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but you can see here there are sections where, like, for example, let me just use a selection tool. I'm pretty sure that this section here of the artwork is this section here, and then I'm pretty sure that this section of the artwork has the low pass filter, so that would be this section. So through trial and error, you can work this out, and yeah, this might not, well, no, it's not might not. This is ugly. This does not look cool. I suppose it does look cool, but it's a cool asset to use. So like if you can start editing this stuff and messing with it. But yeah, there is a process, and once you've done it a couple of times, you'll kind of start seeing what is actually going on. You'll be able to identify the parts of the image that you've added effects to and the parts that have kind of stayed the same, like the little horse rider. So I'm going to go back into Audacity now, and hopefully it's going to just let me undo a load of times. So I'm going to select the whole file and go to effect, distortion and modulation, and I'm going to click on this one that says wah wah, and I'm just going to apply the default settings. I'm going to follow the exact same process again. Export audio, headerless, A-law. I'm just going to rename it to 2. By the way, if you get the reference, cool, you're a cool person if you get the reference. I'm not going to explain the reference of why I named that artwork that, but yeah, I'm going to export that. Let me just change the location. Go back into the hex editor, and I've already got my, oh, it's not recognized any of this now because I've renamed it from a raw file. I've already got my FF byte that I need selected. So if I just go to file, open up my new one that I've just done in Audacity, and just, I should have it actually copied already. So if I just go to paste, insert, ignore the error, do file, save, come to file explorer and rename it as BMP. And then again, just open that up, and you've got this cool like modulation effect that has been applied to the image now, with kind of like a low pass style effect on it as well. Again, like, not the prettiest thing, but if we wanted to use this as an asset, this would make a cool displacement map for this image. Or even just like if we did some blending, or just like yeah, with more work and more experimenting, you will get something cool out of this. The nature of like working with glitch art is that you are gonna get ugly stuff until you get something that is ugly enough to be like usable or only slightly ugly, so it's still kind of qualifies as the original piece kind of thing. I'm gonna try one more edit now. So I'm gonna do it on the whole thing. So I'm gonna select the whole audio section, effect, and I'm gonna add a default phaser effect, and I don't know, let's do a low pass filter. I'm gonna do like 15,000, and let's add some reverb. So let me listen to this one now. Let me just play that actually, because it's a little bit more detailed this time. So what I'm expecting in the image output is that this sort of pattern that emerges, that what you can hear here is like the phaser. So a phaser, I'm not going to explain everything about phase in this video, but phase kind of refers to the alignment of sound waves, and when you unalign them, they're out of phase. That's a very bad explanation, but what you can see here is, so I think sort of the moments where it lines back up, and I'm expecting that we are going to see a pattern in the image. Again, if you're really into audio and stuff, or if you went to uni for music technology and you didn't drop out like me, please don't roast me in the comments, as I don't remember much from what I learned about music. Same again, export audio, settings all the same. Just gonna rename it to say 3, export, open up the hex editor, open the new raw file, and go and paste our file header and our FF byte, and put it in the new file, save, rename, ignore the error, and then I'm going to open it in Photoshop. So I'm not as dumb as I thought, because you can see the pattern, and that is quite cool. For some reason, whatever it is I'm doing to the files here, it's got like a big bias for green. I don't know why, but everything turns green. Guessing that could be the compression of the dynamic range when I chose my encoding and my ULAW and sort of input settings, because it's also pulling the black all the way up to this like medium gray. If we have a look at a histogram of the image, most of it now exists here, whereas if I go over to my original and I'll just load up a histogram, most of it is down at the bottom. So it's essentially shifting up this section to here, and like pulling it apart a little bit. I think that's sort of the gray that you can see. But yeah, I mean, you can experiment with this and take it as far as you want, really. Right now I'm pretty creatively burned out, and I'm just trying to do stuff that is like interesting, and yeah, I'm struggling to come up with like an idea for a normal design tutorial. So yeah, I thought I would make this, and yeah, I kind of like using this. I'm going to do some more stuff, I think, where it's just a tutorial for working on images rather than just like an Adobe tutorial. This piece, I won't turn this video into an advert, but this piece of work, I just got this one made into some cool holographic prints. I don't know if you can hear me when I talk behind that, but yeah, I'm going to be releasing these soon on the Studio AAA website. If you like this piece of artwork and you would like to own some cool, shiny, I don't have many of these because they're expensive, but yeah, if you would like to get your hands on one, by the time this video comes out, hopefully these should be out on the website, so I'll put a link to them in the description if you would like to get a hold of one. No pressure, obviously I'll still be making these videos whether you buy them or not. I'm also thinking about making a video on how you can make your own holographic print. I don't know if that sounds like cool, if that sounds like something you would want to see, let me know. Other than that, the only thing I've not covered is when you convert back into BMP, just remember to convert back into JPEG. But that's relatively easy to do in Photoshop. So if you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment, follow me on all the internet pages. I will leave those in the description below. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.